What's up, Steam It? Brian Phobos here. We're here for another pool meeting today. I want to talk about why I think that Litecoin is a better store of value in 2017 than Bitcoin. So a few reasons that hasn't impressed me with Bitcoin for the last couple of years was their inability to come to consensus on the block size debate and all that. The network's bogged down. There's way too many transactions. Then the transaction fees have went through the roof. So, this whole idea that you're going to be able to make micropayments with the Bitcoin network and it was going to really be something great for remittances and those kind of things has really kind of went out the window just because it's, the network's being taxed to its maximum and the block sizes need to be bigger. So with Litecoin, so going back to Bitcoin though, I think that not having cohesiveness from like some sort of a leader, I would have thought that Gavin Andreessen would have been kind of a figure that people would have looked at, but then, the miners were profit driven, so they didn't want to make the changes as quick as they needed to a couple years ago. So, that part of it really surprised me, but let's say if Satoshi came out of the woodwork now and basically said, hey, this is what I want the block sizes to go to this, I think that people would listen. It'd be kind of like when Steve Jobs was at Apple, everybody just sort of listened. It was like, we respect this guy, and it was treated him like a god. So I feel like if Satoshi came out of the woodwork, that would happen. Now, with the Litecoin network, there's more cohesiveness, because Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin, he cloned Bitcoin. He's still out there. He's a very public figure, and he's on Twitter. He worked for Coinbase for several years, and he just quit Coinbase 3 weeks ago to focus on development of Litecoin, which is pretty cool, and that's one of the reasons why I think that it's a better store of value in 2017. Also, Coinbase somewhat recently added Litecoin to both Coinbase and GDAX. So you don't have to go through Bitcoin to get to Litecoin anymore through Coinbase, which is obviously super popular. Also on Kraken, you don't have to do that. You can go straight from US dollar to Litecoin. Now, for acceptance of payments and stuff like that, there is still kind of on-ramp, and there are some ways around that. You could use like block trades. If somebody accepted Bitcoin but they didn't accept Litecoin, you use block trades to kind of act as an intermediary to kind of help with that transaction and everything. But it's not as seamless. But I feel like in the future, more and more places, if they accept Bitcoin, they're going to accept Litecoin. So going back to, let's say, like development, moving a little faster on the Litecoin network than the Bitcoin network. So they've already implemented SegWit, which is segregated witness, and the Lightning Network. And I'm not going to get in that fully. It's too much detail for a pool meeting. There are some really good videos on YouTube that some people have done to break it down on a whiteboard or with graphics on the screen and stuff to get a little bit more in depth of that. But basically, that's going to solve a lot of the bottleneck issues that Bitcoin is experiencing. Now, Litecoin didn't really have a problem because there really wasn't a bottleneck on that network, but they implemented it for the foresight that they could be a little bit of a front runner with that, and ultimately it could be implemented on the Bitcoin network. Now, April 1st is a big day for Bitcoin if they're going to go ahead and implement that and hopefully come to consensus to, put SegWit and a Lightning Network in there. Now, the Lightning Network could allow, it's like adding another layer onto it. So it'd be all these off-chain transactions that would happen instantaneously almost, pretty much in a fraction of a second, which really opens up the possibilities to a lot more development, I guess, on top of these chains. So, but Litecoin already has it, and then just inherently, the block time is faster. It's 2.5 minutes instead of 10 minutes for each block, and then ultimately, I believe there's going to be 84 million Litecoins minted into existence, and there's going to be 21 million for Bitcoin. So it used to be coupled a little more. They used to say that Bitcoin was the gold and Litecoin was kind of the silver to the Bitcoin gold. And kind of decoupled there for a while. There was several rough years where Bitcoin, Bitcoin had a rough time, but Litecoin even had a rougher time. But now I feel like things are going to kind of change because of the on-ramps to get from US dollar to Litecoin. It's better. There's a lot of volume, actually. There's a lot of trade volume. There's a lot of transaction volume on the Litecoin network because the Bitcoin network is so bogged down and the transaction fees are so much that people are gravitating towards Litecoin. And, there's a ton of advantages to it. Now, as far as point of sale, that is one of the big things that Bitcoin has going for it over Litecoin is there's more acceptance for Bitcoin. There's Litecoin, but I think eventually things are gonna kind of even out. And then, like comparing Bitcoin and Litecoin to Ethereum is, and I don't want to get completely into Ethereum and some of the issues that it has or the issues that I see kind of going forward with it. It's kind of a different thing. It's sort of a different animal. So I put those in a different category. See, I put Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, Dash. What else? I mean, those are four of the main ones that are mainly kind of like a store of value or a transaction mechanism where you're going to transfer value, and that's its main focus. Zcash is another one. So in regards to that, with Zcash and Monero and Dash, they're all anonymous. They've done quite well. So Litecoin is going to actually implement anonymity, or like the ability to transfer anonymously. And that's a huge deal because, Charlie and the Litecoin group, they want to protect the fungibility of it. See, that's an issue a little bit with Bitcoin is if you have a US dollar, no matter if someone like snorted cocaine with it or it was in a stripper's G-string, those dollars are worth just as much as a dollar that came from like Chase Bank and has never been in circulation or something, or it was just, freshly printed kind of paper that was at the bank, like a new bill. It's because it's fungible, it's interchangeable. A dollar's worth a dollar. And with Bitcoin, there's been situations where they almost act like coins were tainted. That coin was on Silk Road at one point, or there was even stories that Coinbase was locking up people's accounts because it looked like that they were then selling the coins on local Bitcoins. And it's just like, what the heck? So do these blockchain analysis, and when it's only semi-anonymous, it's not totally fungible if you act like, oh, well, those coins are tainted. So if Litecoin can totally go anonymous, that gives it a huge step up, and it could be completely fungible. And then it's just, again, faster block time. It's got SegWit, Lightning Network. It's got a great development group led up by Charlie Lee, who's a public figure. So I think there's a lot of positive things about Litecoin. So anyway, those are just my thoughts and everything. Not telling you to invest in Litecoin or anything. You have to make that decision yourself. But thanks for attending the pool meeting. See ya.